won't hurt you. Saeed bin Musayyib Rahimahullah says that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala got me used to standing at that place, and He gave me enough respect that people leave that place for me. Now just because of these people, I disappoint all of those people who are leaving that space for me. I won't do that either. And accordingly, they found him over there, captured him. He was beaten 60 lashes. In a cold day, they threw cold water on him. Then they put him in prison. Finally, people approached Walid and said to him, "What are you doing? If you continue doing this to Saeed, gradually all the people will turn against you, because most of the people are his students and they love him, they respect him with his taqwa, his knowledge." So then they let him go. But subhanallah, look at this taqwa. And what made Walid to be so badly and deadly against such a great scholar? Walid's father, Abdul Malik, knew that Saeed bin Musayyib has a daughter. She is known for her taqwa, for her knowledge, and for her beauty. So he wanted to marry his son, Walid, to his daughter, to the daughter of Saeed bin Musayyib. Saeed bin Musayyib Rahimahullah rejected that. He said, "No, I don't want to do that." They said, "You can't find a better person than him, and this, and he's the one who will be the next Khalifa." I'm not looking for those things. And to show them what he was looking for, he married his daughter to another person who was a student of his, and the mahr was chosen to be 2 dinar. And that person was offering millions of dinars. And here the mahr is only 2 dinar. A person who cannot find food every day to eat. But it's a person who spends his time in the masjid of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, studying the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Saeed bin Musayyib rahimahullah married his daughter to that person. So of course Walid was insulted. So as he got the kingdom, he wanted to take a little revenge from Saeed bin Musayyib. On the other hand, once when Walid came to Medina Munawwarah, people went to see him, at least say salam to him. Saeed bin Musayyib never visited Walid. And Walid knew that this is the only person who didn't come to me. So he knew that where he sits in the masjid, Umar bin Abdul Aziz rahimahullah was the governor during those days. So he said to Umar bin Abdul Aziz, "Let's go and see the masjid, visit the masjid." Now the king is coming to visit the masjid. So all the people were made to leave masjid. Subhanallah, the respect of Saeed bin Musayyib was so much in people's heart that no one dared to go and tell Saeed that the king is coming, you better leave. No one could tell him that, and he just stayed there. He was hearing it. They were saying it loud to other people so that Saeed would hear and leave. But Saeed bin Musayyib did not leave. He stayed over there. Walid came. Umar bin Abdul Aziz rahimahullah says that I tried to keep Walid away from the place of Saeed bin Musayyib rahimahullah. Because I knew Saeed won't get up for him, won't do anything for him. So I tried to keep him away. So I was taking him to the other sides of the masjid, showing him here or there, and he's performing salah here and there. Finally he saw that this man is sitting over here. So he asked me, he said, "Is this a Saeed bin Musayyib?" I said, "Yes." Then he said, "I just wanted to present an excuse on behalf of Saeed." I said, his eyesight are not that good. I'm sure if he would have seen you, he would come to you. So he said, "Don't worry, I would go to him." But Walid knew what was the reality behind it. So he went to him. He said, "Assalamu alaikum." Saeed bin Musayyib is sitting down. He said, "Wa alaikum assalam." He said, "I came to see you, O Saeed." He says, "This is the masjid of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the house of Allah. You want to see me here? You want to see Allah here? You better see the one that is the owner of the house. Don't see me here." Right then, Walid bin Abdul Malik left, and he said to Umar bin Abdul Aziz that it's an honor for the ummah to have people like him. He himself realized. He said it's an honor for the ummah to have people like him, who don't bow down before any other person except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. they never put their head down before anyone else. Of course, it's not an arrogance, but it's only to preserve the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so that if you would pay him respect today, tomorrow Walid would want a special fatwa from him and will try to force him to give fatwa according to his needs. Saeed bin Musayyib doesn't want to do that. He doesn't want to sell the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for any price. With all of this ilm, taqwa, Saeed bin Musayyib used to fast every day of his life, with the exception of the days that are forbidden to fast. And he performed 40 hajj in his life. 40 hajj. This is what I was mentioning, barakah in these people's time. And rest of the time, he's sitting in the masjid of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, teaching people the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sayyidina Saeed bin Musayyib Rahimahullah passed away in the year 94. The year 94 is called Sanatul Fuqaha, the year of the Fuqaha. Many of the great scholars of Islam passed away during that year. Saeed bin Musayyib, one of the greatest. Saeed bin Jubayr, we talked about him in the previous session. He was murdered by Hajjaj bin Yusuf in the very same year. Ali bin Hassan bin Ali radiyallahu anhu, Imam Zain al-Abidin rahimahullah, died during the same year. And many other scholars passed away during the very same year. This is why that year was called Sanatul Fuqaha, the year of Fuqaha, that many of the Fuqaha left the world during that year. Saeed bin Musayyib rahimahullah, when he passed away, all the scholars unanimously agreed that now it's difficult for one person to be able to answer all the questions. Now we will have to form a bench where all of us put our heads together, and then we will only be able to answer the questions. As long as Saeed bin Musayyib was there, he was the person who was able to answer all kind of questions, and all by himself, he didn't need the help of anyone else. And one of the key points behind that was his own wife, the daughter of Abu Hurairah radiyallahu anhu, because it was known about Sayyidina Abu Hurairah radiyallahu anhu, there were three people in the family. Abu Hurairah radiyallahu anhu himself, his wife, and his daughter. He had divided the night into three, that each person will be awake during 1/3 of the night. So from Isha till Fajr, throughout the night, there is some ibadah going on in that house. This is how that daughter was raised. Now she becomes the wife of Saeed bin Musayyib rahimahullah. And that was one of the greatest help that Saeed bin Musayyib had. He's getting the knowledge of her father through her also, and he's getting the taqwa and the practices of her father through her. This is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed Saeed bin Musayyib rahimahullah from all over, and then he finally became one of the greatest scholars of Islam. This is the life. This is the life. This is something not just to talk about. This is something that we need to think. How can we bring these type of things in our lives? That ilm, that taqwa, that practices of deen, not just talk of deen, that practices of deen, where nights are busy with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where a person spends time to pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where the person is standing before Allah, where a person is bowing down before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, recitation of Quran, salah, fasting, hajj, and these type of things are the normal concern of a family. That's the type of family that we really need to develop, where the main concern is the deen of Allah, is the ibadah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So each and every person of that family, before they would consider themselves and introduce themselves as this profession and that profession and this great person and person with these degrees, they will realize themselves to be the real ibad, the servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the ones that are fulfilling their duty towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make all of us the true servants of His and accept all of us for His ibadah and for His deen. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين والمسلمات وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين.